So we have the repository locally, and what we need to do now is to actually push it somewhere where we can access it, so that we have number one, of course, a backup, and number two, a source for from where we can clone it onto other machines. And this happens by specifying a remote. So we can go back here to our repository and then repository settings, and then we have the remotes right here. So, and this is now somewhat specific to our Gitolite setup at Kentucky State University. Setting up a GitHub account is and remote is relatively straightforward. It looks almost the same because we're going to use the same SSH protocol. So, but we're going to add a remote, and we're going to use this as the default remote, and the default name for that is origin. We have to provide a URL, and in our particular case, it's going to be a URL that points to a certain account and subdirectory on our Git server that runs the Gitolite system. So, and for our case, this would be git at git.cs.kysu.edu, and then for students, it should be students, and then so that's a colon right there, git at git.cs.kysu.edu :students / and then it's the login credentials that you have received should be first name - last name. So in my case, I'm not gonna use first name - last name because I do this so often. I gave myself a considerably shorter name here, right? So for me it's just JH, but for any student it should be first name - last name, and then the name of the project, and that should be cannot contain any spaces. So, and we're going to stick with the whole theme here of being lowercase. So I'm just going to do a roll - ball, and that should be that. So we have the remote configured now, and we can actually see whether this works or not by first trying to fetch all data from all remotes, because if that remote does not exist on the server yet, the server will actually automatically create this for us, and it should do so as long as we have the key loaded. Again, you may be prompted with a with a dialog to acknowledge to cache the remote host key on the first connect. But now we have here a remote with the origin destination, and we have the master branch, but we don't have the master branch pushed to the remote yet. That is the next step. So let's go ahead and do this. All we have to do here is hit the push button, and then decide which branch we want to push. We want to push the master branch. The remote name can be different, and most of the time for simple workflows it's not going to be. So we stick to the remote branch master as well, and we are going to track the these two branches so that the system knows that if the local master branch changes, the remote branch needs to be brought up to date via push, and vice versa. If the remote branch has changed, a simple pull will pull the changes back into the local master branch. And that's it. And when we have done this with the push, we see now we have actually two branch pointers, what they're called here, right? The first one is the local master branch, and the other one is the master branch on origin, or for short, origin / master.